people's movement known as Core Magazine, visionary of Consulate, single mom of Traversio and daughter of D.
Warriors for never giving up, because that's the first thing that colonizers like this plan on. So are you gonna give up? No! Secondly, I just want to start this beautiful day of resistance with prayer. So we have to recognize that the first form of colonial terror happened right here in Turtle Island. Not the first, but an ongoing form of colonial terror that moves indigenous peoples from their land. So as we hold our brothers and sisters and mamas and daddies in Palestine, let's hold our first peoples from occupied Yalamu, from this land. So if I can ask you to bend down and touch Mama Earth, if you can, and to be humble in that notion that colonial terror is all over Mama Earth. So holding this in our hands, holding Mama Earth in our hands, we start with a prayer. Thank you, Mama, for always being here, no matter how many times you're colonized and terrorized. Thank you to all the brothers and sisters from the Ohlone Lashaw Nation, occupied Yalamu, for never giving up, and for still being here 528 years and giving these warriors strength. Thank you to all of the brothers and sisters, mothers and fathers, uncles and daddies and grandmamas who have lost their lives and their sons and their daughters in the terrorized no land called Palestine. Thank you to all of you for never giving up. Ashe, Aho, Mateo. I'm gonna do a really quick poem. I thank you for doing that, because we have to ground ourselves in spirit always. And I am a poverty scholar, that houseless mama, that houseless daughter, all those people you don't want to see, never want to be, look away from me. What you gonna do, arrest me? We're in your city. And I connect those dots, because we have to recognize that colonial evictions happen all over Mama Earth. And so this is a short poem for all the mamas. This poem is in honor of homeless mothers and Palestinian mothers, low-wage mothers and no-wage mothers, welfare mothers and three-job working mamas, immigrant mothers and incarcerated mothers. In other words, this poem is in honor of CP Estwith, DH Estwith, and colonial terrorized mothers. This poem is in honor of all those poor women and men, and yes, I said men, because don't sing me that song about gender again, who fight and struggle and steal and beg in every part of Sheikh Jarrah and San Francisco, but keep our kids in a bed, who dress and feed with tired hands, who answer cries over and over again, who can barely make it, but sometimes do, and still raise all the world's people like me and you and you. Can I get a witness? Who can barely make it, but always do, and still raise all the world's people like me and you and you. Thank you, Mama D, for giving me life. Thank you to all of you for never giving up!
Hello? Okay. Thank you, Tiny. Give it up for Tiny. One, we are the people. One.
it up real quickly. Hold on.
One, we are the people! We are the people! Two, a little bit louder! Three, we want justice for our people! One, two, three! One, we are the people! Three,
We want justice for our people.
one,
We are the people.
two,
A little bit louder.
three!
We want justice for our people.
Free, free, free Palestine!
Free, free, free Palestine.
Free, free, free Palestine!
Free, free, free Palestine.
Free, free, free Palestine!
Free, free, free Palestine.
And the occupation now!
The occupation now.
And the occupation now!
The occupation now.
And the occupation now!
The occupation now.
Yeah, everybody give it up! Next we have up on the stage Munadhir Hirzallah. Munadhir is a deep, deep, deep friend of mine. He's also one of the largest and one of the elders in our community who has a long-seated history here in the Bay Area. Munadhir is also a part of the United States Palestinian Community Network. He's from Gaza and he's lived in the US for a pretty long ass time, just like the rest of us. So everybody please give yourselves and give Munadhir a warm hands of applause.
Thank you, Lubna. I'm so proud to be introduced by Lubna, a leader of the Palestinian youth movement. They are our future leaders of the nation of Palestine. We are here today, and I was told by Lubna and others, I want to be very brief, because it's really important that we echo the call from Palestine to pull marches throughout the world. Hundreds of cities around the world, millions of people supporting justice in Palestine. We are joining millions of people marching in the streets for the justice in Palestine. Millions of people from Europe to Africa to the Arab countries to Lebanon to Yemen. Long live Yemen! Long live Lebanon! Long live Iraq! All the people who's fighting for justice are fighting for justice for Palestine. We are also here to make sure that our people, the only two spots in the whole world that are not supporting justice in Palestine are two certain countries, is the State of Israel and the United States of America. They are complicit. They are partners. They are partners in murdering children in Gaza. This is important to know, that we should not wait to protest to see the blood of Gaza's children in the streets. We need to continue fight. We need to know and recognize the fact that when Trump says, and hear what he said, he was talking to the Jewish voters, and he said, I am the best thing happened to the state of Israel, and you better vote for me. That's the reality. That's the scum of the earth. Donald Trump, the fascist, racist, is the only one he has no disagreement with Joe Biden, who is following the footsteps of Donald Trump. He has no guts to reverse the decision of moving the U.S. embassy to Jerusalem. This is not an issue between Jews and Arabs. This is not an issue between Jews and Muslims. It's the issue of colonial settlers. Colonial settlers, just like the Zionist movement, just like Columbus did not discover America. America was colonized from the Native Americans, from the indigenous people of America. That's what happened. That's what's happening in Sheikh Jarrah. They'll continue what happened since the establishment of the settler state of Israel in 1948. It's also important we recognize, and I really appreciate and value the support of our brothers and sisters everywhere, okay? Labor unions, students, teachers, particularly our brothers and sisters in the Jewish community, and I have a message for them. I want to tell them that it's no longer acceptable for the state of Israel to say, I represent the Jews of the world. It's no more acceptable. We need to challenge this. You need to challenge this. Just like it's not acceptable for a white man to march and say Black Lives Matter, you need to fight against racism. You don't have to march with us. You need to go and talk to the people who are counting on your vote, to tell them no, Israel does not represent the Jews of the world. And we want to build a society where everybody can live in peace and justice together. It is not between Jews and Arabs. Trump and his unholy triangle, the US imperialism and the state of Israel and the Arab dictators. The Arab dictators are the same. They are complicit in killing the children of Gaza, just like killing the children of Yemen. We hold you responsible. We hold you responsible for this innocent people who are dying to serve the 1%. 1% of this country and 1% of the Arab world, where the fascist, racist entity of Israel, supported by the US imperialism and the Arab dictators. We are fighting the same enemy, and we want to make a better world for all of us. This is not today and might be over, and we will continue to fight for justice. So when Palestine is under attack, what do we do? When Yemen is under attack, what do we do? When Yemen is under attack, what do we do? When Gaza is under attack, what do we do? When the Sheikh Jarrah is under attack, what do we do? What do we do? When the black people is under attack, what do we do? When immigrants people are under attack, what do we do? When labor unions are under attack, what do we do? The people united will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated.
I have to work with, what? Sorry. I have to work with GUPS on passing our divestment resolution at SF State. We passed it 17 to 20, 17 yes votes. We would have never have done it without Abd, and he helps numerous SJPs, BFPs, and GUPS across the Bay Area pass divestment at their schools. Abd is originally from Palestine. His family was kicked out in 1948 and sent to Lebanon and Syria. He got his master's in civil engineering from San Jose State University, where he was a part of the student government and founded Students for Justice in Palestine, SJP organization over there. After graduating, Abd has been working with many organizations and individuals on Palestine-related work. Give it up for Abd.
Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Long live Palestine! Long live Palestine! Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Peace. Thank you for the warm welcome. My name is Abdurrahman. As I was mentioned, I'm Palestinian originally. My family was kicked out in 1948. We moved to Lebanon and Syria. I was actually in Lebanon in 2006 during that war, or the quote-unquote war that happened between the European settlers and Hezbollah. I can tell you firsthand, everything you see on the news is legit. That in terms of like what's happening in Gaza, when you see that the Israelis are bombing civilian populations on purpose, I saw that with my own eyes. I'm telling you, I've seen bakeries being blown up and gas stations blown up and mosques and refugee camps and every civilian populated area possible. They're not missing. They're targeting exactly what they're aiming at, and they're hitting it. Now, when they strike Gaza and they talk about self-defense, what are they defending themselves from? They're the occupiers. We're not in Poland. We're not in Europe. We're not in Russia. We're not anywhere. They came to Palestine. They're occupying our lands. Now, also what I want to mention is understand what they're attacking. They're attacking Masjid al-Aqsa. They're attacking Masjid al-Ibrahimi. They're attacking Gaza. They lay siege on the Church of Nativity back years ago. They vandalize our churches. They don't go after nightclubs. They don't go after bars. No time for judgment for anybody, but just self-reflect on that point. And when they come into these populated areas, a lot of people, they always ask, how is it that the whole world stands against us? How is it that the US, Israel, all of these powers, all the military powers, the economic powers, the political powers, the whole world seems to be against us. The Arabs, the Muslims, Turkey and UAE and all these countries recognizing Israel. How is it that we can win if everything is against us? Here's another perspective. How is it that the whole planet wants us gone and we're still here? And finally, I don't want to take too much of everybody's time, but since everybody wants to use the word jihad, let's use it in the right fashion. Jihad is a concept in which you place a burden on yourself to remove a burden from other people. And the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he taught us that the highest form of jihad is a few words of truth to an oppressor. So please, everybody, just keep speaking, keep screaming and say for Palestine. Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! من المية للمية فلسطين عربية. Free, free Palestine! Long live Palestine! Assalamu alaikum, everybody.
Settler, go back home. Palestine is ours alone. Settler, go back home. Palestine is ours alone. Settler, go back home. Palestine.
Anti-Police Terror Project. He is the policy director as well as the Justice in Teams Network and is also a member of the Block Leadership with APTP. He lives in East Oakland, California with his wife and his 2-month-old child. Everybody please give a warm round of applause.
Thank you, everyone. I'm here on behalf of Kat Brooks, co-founder of the Anti-Police Terror Project. She just got through surgery and unfortunately couldn't be here with us today, but she's prepared a statement that I'm going to read. There is no black liberation without Palestinian liberation. There is no black liberation without Palestinian liberation. Comrades, I am recovering from surgery, otherwise I would be with you here today. My heart shatters for Palestine, for the women, the children, and the elders. The Anti-Police Terror Project doesn't just stand in solidarity with Palestine, we stand in solidarity with Palestinian resistance. Our struggles are, thank you. Our struggles are connected and our liberation is tied. It is the same forces that rape, maim, incarcerate, and murder Palestinians that train U.S. law enforcement here to rape, maim, incarcerate, and murder black people. The white supremacist agendas of the United States and Israel are one and the same, and so must our resistance be to their terror. We demand an end to the genocide in Palestine and an end to the genocide in urban cities across the United States. We demand an end to the collaboration between U.S. and Israeli white supremacist forces, and we demand a right to return home for Palestinians pushed out by settler terrorism. Just as we demand a right to return home for black Oaklanders pushed out by terrorism by police and gentrification. These demands are not just things we scream into the ether. They are tangible and extractable wins possible in this political moment, where the people across this globe are not just saying no more, they are screaming, this is how we ensure no more. They are screaming, this is how liberatory practice looks like, and are in the process of, and will win. I want you to believe that in your hearts. We can, and in the process of, and will win. White supremacy is grasping for breath. He is dying and he knows it. He fights hard and gets more vicious like a rabid animal backed into a corner. Our job, as Brother Turha Ak says, is to use our movements to put our knee in his chest, cover his mouth and nose, and ensure the death of white supremacy is swift and final. There can and have been and will continue to be losses as we get from here to there. I ask those now ancestors to guide us as we continue to struggle, fight, and win in their names. We can smell freedom on the winds of unity, intersectionality, and solidarity is the path. Thank you from Kat Brooks and the Anti-Police Terror Project. There is no black liberation without Palestinian liberation. And together we can all get free. Thank you.
بالروح بالدم His name is Moody Arakat. He's a longtime member of our community. The whole entire family is. So everybody, please give him a warm hand of applause. He's also with the Arab Youth Organization, so give it up to all the Arab youth that have come out so far. Palestine will see freedom in your hands.
My name is Mahmoud Arakat. Sorry. I'm originally from a town called Uprising in East Jerusalem. Before we start, I want to leave a moment of silence for my childhood friend Muhammad Abu Shakir, who was killed in Jericho by the Israeli occupation forces 4 days ago. We are here today to protest the forced expulsions, ethnic cleansing, and the ongoing war crimes being committed by the Zionist colonial state in Palestine, supported unconditionally by the imperialist government of the United States. As of now, the United States is not just an accomplice or enabler of the ethnic cleansing and war crimes in Palestine, it is a full partner. While Israel is committing these acts of impunity, this administration is giving Israel $3.8 billion annually. While here in San Francisco, we have one of the largest homeless populations in the whole country. Somehow the media has tricked us to believe that this is a both-side conflict. While on one hand we have a nuclear global superpower, and on the other hand, we have people with nothing but rocks and pride. Let me make this clear right away. Our existence is not up for debate. It is up to every single one of us to keep Palestine alive. Listen when I say this. There is a Palestine that lives in each and every single one of us. A Palestine that needs to be rescued. A liberated Palestine. A Palestine where the word occupation can only be found in the history books. We demand justice. We demand accountability. We demand a political and economic embargo against the so-called state of Israel. We demand an immediate end to all funding to the apartheid state of Israel. The first Prime Minister of Israel, David Ben-Gurion, said, eventually the old will die and the young will forget. We are here to let the world know that we will never forget. It's been 73 years, we still haven't forgotten. Our kids won't forget, our grandkids won't forget, Uvadhum, they won't forget. We will never forget. Thank you.
Justin Martin is a poet with a spirit of internationalism and stands in 1000% solidarity with Palestine. Give it up one more time for Tango.
Imperialists eat until the world is blurry to them. These streets are made of saliva. And some people made of saliva too, they usually got on uniforms. While a crazy man spins round and round trying to make a record out of this mass production jungle, maybe I'll join him. Count cash and cry. These streets are made of saliva and white sheets are worn on building and where kids supposed to learn how to read well. White sheets on the highway too. Another mayor needs their head on a pike. One down is just one down, but you know, you tell all this to the masses, your teacher will pipeline you. They told me I was jewelry. They told me this is jungle. Well, maybe not jungle, more like 50 machine guns planted in the ground. It's raining faces again in California. What does it say about heaven? What does it say about the people you killed? Waiting lines got so exhausted, a million minds dropped all these faces at once. If the fascists can read the lips of a giant talking in his sleep, we might as well make our demands in prison letters. Today was born the most important trigger finger in the world. Today I've begun counting down the pages between now and a pile of books by a tunnel. Chicago gonna walk out of Chicago one day. Babies will drag street signs like old toys. Today the most important letter left prison. Babies will laugh at flags like faces that have disappeared. Maybe I'll join them. But for now, these streets is made of saliva, and we raise half-full glasses to the basements that meant nothing, and the working poor who live there. We get shot, we get white sheets on California where the kitchen table likes to talk as much as the walls and romance on the porch consist of hard residing. I mean, in this picture, characters talk spit and know they hard to kill. The kitchen table knows this, the porch is almost convinced that one down is just one down. This town is coming to town. A circus watching itself, half distracted, half suicidal, thrilled children dressed as cops. Thrilled children preaching and policing and then taking and hiring and snatching your money. This town's coming to town with tough trademarks to follow. Today, I watched imperialism walk on water and people play dead so that they could be part of a miracle. Thank you.
Thank you. No justice, no peace. No racist police. 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 No justice, no peace. No racist police.
Everybody, please give a warm hand of applause to one of my dearest comrades. Her name is Sarah Kirshner. Sarah Kirshner is the co-founder of the International Jewish Anti-Zionist Network in 2007. And is currently the executive director of the National Lawyers Guild, San Francisco Bay Area. Everybody, please give Sarah a warm round of applause.
This is beautiful! I am not a poet like Tongo, but I am deeply moved and fortified by seeing all
بحرية خلقنا نعيش بحرية واطلع يا قمر نوهل ضوي على المخيمات وما خلقنا نعيش بذل خلقنا نحمل شهادات العربي عنده طيارة طيارة صهيونية
وطيارة صهيونية
تضرب أحرار العالم من غزة وضفاوية
ومن غزة وضفاوية
فري فري بالستاين
فري فري بالستاين
فري فري بالستاين
فري فري بالستاين.
وانتفاضة انتفاضة وانتفاضة انتفاضة وانتفاضة انتفاضة Long live the انتفاضة Long live the انتفاضة وانتفاضة انتفاضة 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 Give it up for yourself! Next up speaking, we got Leslie Quintinela. Is a Central American educator who organizes around the goal of Zapatista autonomy beyond borders and seeks decolonial possibilities with a network of grassroots organizations. He is a co-founder of the Center for Interdisciplinary Environmental Justice and the Free Them All San Diego Coalition based in Comayay territories, also known as San Diego Tijuana. Give it up for Leslie! Hello. Buenas tardes, Palestina! As a Central American educator, I'm here to offer you one word in Spanish. And that word is a demand, a response, a promise that Israel will leave, get out of Palestinian lands and
reaching the United States. For this, we say, Israel, fuera de Latinoamérica! Fuera! 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 For this, we must understand as abolitionists who are fighting against the prison-industrial complex, against the border-industrial complex, against the military, that we cannot be free in Latinoamérica, in Las Americas, until all of Palestine is free. And for this, my cousins, I say, Israel, fuera de Palestina! Fuera! 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 Free Palestine! I love you all. Tell me what you want, what you really want. Tell me what you need, what you really need. How we gonna get it? How we gonna get it? How we gonna get it? Tell me what you want, what you really want. Tell me what you need, what you really need. How we gonna get it? How we gonna get it? How we gonna get it? Tell me what you want, what you really want. Tell me what you need, what you really need. How we gonna get it? How we gonna get it? How we gonna get it? Next we have Lana Kiswani from the Arab Resource and Organizing Center. She is the director of the Markaz Al-Arabi here in San Francisco, located on 60th in Valencia. Everybody please give a warm round of applause for Lana. She's a long-time organizer, a long-time supporter of Palestine, and is from Bendixa.
All right, San Francisco, let me hear you make some noise. I want you to remember we are not here alone. We are here on heeding the call from Palestine. Today there was a general strike, not only in Jerusalem, not only in the West Bank, not only in besieged Gaza, but all throughout 1948 Palestine, all across Palestine. The people of Palestine made it clear there is no... And they asked us to join them in demonstrating across the world at Apartheid Israel Consulate, right behind us. And as we have done for decades, we showed up strong. Over 1,000 people within hours have showed up here in San Francisco tonight. And we know that the Bay Area will always rise up for Palestine. Because we know the Bay Area will always rise up for the movement for Black lives. We know the Bay Area will always rise up for our indigenous siblings from Americas. We know the Bay Area will rise up for migrants across the world who are forced to be here because of U.S. imperialism. We know the Bay Area will always rise up for all the exploited people, all poor and working class people, not just right here in the belly of the beast, but across the world. We set the tone for the rest of the country for what it means to stand for social justice. We set the tone for the rest of the country for what it means to stand for economic justice. We set the tone for the rest of the country for what it means to stand for international solidarity. So today we are not just demonstrating right here in San Francisco, we're demonstrating alongside people across the world to say one thing: we must put an end to Zionism. We must put an end to apartheid Israel. We must end apartheid Israel because it doesn't just serve us as Arab, as Palestinian, as Muslimin. It serves the entire world, fighting against exploitation, fighting against racism, fighting against U.S. imperialism, putting an end to apartheid Israel serves the freedom of all people. So today we're protesting right here in front of the apartheid Israeli consulate alongside people across the world. And tomorrow we're going to block the Israeli Zim ship. I want to remind you all that in 2014, during the war on Gaza, it was right here in the Bay Area that we got solidarity from the International Longshore Warehouse Union, a black-led union in Oakland, California, who said we will not touch Israeli cargo. Who said we will respect the call from apartheid, we will respect the call from Gaza, from Palestine, from Palestine, to stand against apartheid, and we will not unload the apartheid Israeli Zim ship. And what did they do? They did not unload that ship in 2014. And that ship has not come back since. Until now. So, apartheid Israel has thought it could come back to the Bay Area, and what do we say to apartheid Israel? No! Apartheid Israel Zim ship thinks it can come dock at the port of Oakland, and we have made it clear that we're ready to mobilize. So we did. We put out a call to action within a few days. We got 2,000 subscribers to our text alert system. And as of yesterday, they turned around. That is what the Bay Area represents. It represents international solidarity. It represents the movement for liberation and freedom for all oppressed people, alongside all oppressed people. And Palestine can set the path forward to decolonization, anti-colonialism for the rest of the world. So today I ask you all to be prepared to show up if and when the apartheid Israeli Zim ship decides to try to show up again at the port of Oakland. So follow us and follow our text alert system at AROC Bay Area on all the different Twitter accounts. I'm not good on solidarity. International. Long live louder. Let Palestine hear you. Long live. Thank you, everybody.
يا اخوان دقيقة صمت على روح الشهداء لو سمحتوا. يا اخوان كل واحد معاه كوفية علي لي اياها بالسما يا اخوان، الله يستر عليك. علي الكوفية علي! علي الكوفية علي!
علي الكوفية علي
بالأقصى بدنا نصلي!
بالأقصى بدنا نصلي
بالأقصى بدنا نصلي!
بالأقصى بدنا نصلي
بالأقصى بدنا نصلي!
بالأقصى بدنا نصلي
ولا تراجع الاستسلام!
لا تراجع لاستسلام
لا تراجع الاستسلام!
لا تراجع لاستسلام
مش إرهابية، نحن أصحاب القضية، نحن أصحاب القضية، مسلم ومسيحية، مسلم ومسيحية، فلسطين عربية، فلسطين عربية، فلسطين عربية، فلسطين عربية.
الله يعطيكم العافية، الله يعطيكم العافية. هذا الشعب الفلسطيني، هذا الشعب الجبار، هذا اللي بنطلع فيه راسنا. الله يحييكم يا رب. بدنا الصوت يوصل لأقصى، بدنا للشيخ جراح الصامد، الشعب الجبار. بدنا بس تعود وراي وهي هي فلسطين، وهي هي فلسطين، وهي هي فلسطين، وبدي أقدم تحية، وبدي أقدم تحية للقدس الأبية، للقدس الأبية، ومن أمريكا التحية، من أمريكا التحية للقدس العربية، للقدس العربية، وجد سلمنا المفتاح. ارفع ايدك لفوق بالله عليك يا عمي، ارفع ايدك فوق 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 فوق، فلسطينيين اللي فوق يا عمي، اللي ورا فوق فوق فوق. تعال بالعالي. الله يحييك يا الشعب الفلسطيني، يحييك يا الشعب الفلسطيني، الله يحييك يا الشعب الفلسطيني، الله يحييك يا الشعب الفلسطيني. علي واحد ايدك بالعالي يا اخوان. نتنياهو يا حقير، نتنياهو يا حقير، حق الشهيد ما بيطير، حق الشهيد ما بيطير. بعدنا مطولين يعني شو رايحين الى رجع الاقصى بين الواحد احد. وهي هي فلسطين، جدي سلمني المفتاح، جدي سلمني المفتاح، أمني عالشيخ جراح، أمني عالشيخ جراح، شيخ جراح لا تهتم بيه،
يا شباب. يا عم ارفع لي ايدك.
فلسطيني افتخر راسك بالعالي.
والله للعب بيا الموت.
يا فلسطين.
والله للعب بيا الموت.
يا فلسطين.
والله للعب بيا الموت.
يا فلسطين.
كان الموت يخوفنا.
يا فلسطين.
كان الموت يخوفنا.
يا فلسطين.
نحن شبابك فلسطين.
يا فلسطين.
واحنا شبابك فلسطين.
يا فلسطين.
والواحد فينا 100.
يا فلسطين.
والواحد فينا 100.
يا فلسطين.
واحنا شبابك فلسطين.
يا فلسطين.
والنعمتين.
يا فلسطين.
والنعمتين.
يا فلسطين.
هيك علمنا الختيار.
يا فلسطين.
هيك علمنا الختيار.
يا فلسطين.
وهيك علمنا الختيار.
يا فلسطين.
موتوا تحيا فلسطين.
يا فلسطين.
موتوا تحيا فلسطين.
يا فلسطين.
لا تراجع للاستسلام. لا تراجع للاستسلام.
يا فلسطين.
حق الأقصى مش كلام.
يا فلسطين.
حق الأقصى مش كلام.
يا فلسطين.
وهات الخبر العاجل هات.
يا فلسطين.
وهات الخبر العاجل هات.
يا فلسطين.
زمن الذل وراح ومات.
يا فلسطين.
زمن الذل وراح ومات.
يا فلسطين.
وثلاث أشهر ببيروت.
يا فلسطين.
3 أشهر ببيروت.
يا فلسطين.
لو خوفناهم ما خفنا.
يا فلسطين.
وخوفناهم ما خفنا.
يا فلسطين.
وخوفناهم ما خفنا.
يا فلسطين.
طب هنا واللي يصير يصير.
يا فلسطين.
هنا واللي يصير يصير.
يا فلسطين.
تسقط إسرائيل.
يا فلسطين.
يفضح عرضك يا إسرائيل.
يا فلسطين.
وتسقط إسرائيل.
يا فلسطين.
تسقط إسرائيل.
يا فلسطين. والأقصى لنا وحقه علينا. والأقصى لنا وحقه علينا. والأقصى لنا وحقه علينا. والأقصى لنا وحقه علينا.
ارفعوا لي ايديكم لفوق. ارفعوا لي ايديكم لفوق. ارفعوا لي ايديكم لفوق.
يا اخوانا
واطلعوا يا قمرنا وهل.
يا فلسطين.
اطلع يا قمرنا وهل.
يا فلسطين.
شو مستحيات؟
يا اخوان واحدة قوية. واحدة قوية. والروح ترخص لك فلسطيني اصلك. والروح ترخص لك فلسطيني اصلك. والروح ترخص لك فلسطيني اصلك. والروح ترخص لك فلسطيني اصلك.
واطلع يا قمرنا وهل.
يا فلسطين.
واطلع يا قمرنا وهل.
يا فلسطين.
ضوي على المخيمات.
يا فلسطين.
ضوي على المخيمات.
يا فلسطين.
وضوي على المخيمات.
يا فلسطين.
ما خلقنا نعيش بذل.
يا فلسطين.
خلقنا نعيش بحرية.
يا فلسطين.
ويا مستوطن برا برا.
يا فلسطين.
يا مستوطن برا برا.
يا فلسطين.
يا مستوطن برا برا.
يا فلسطين.
فلسطين حرة حرة.
يا فلسطين.
فلسطين حرة حرة.
يا فلسطين.
ومن أمريكا التحية.
يا فلسطين.
ولك يسعروا فلسطين. ومن أمريكا التحية.
يا فلسطين.
للأسود المقدسية.
يا فلسطين.
للقدس العربية.
يا فلسطين.
للقدس العربية.
يا فلسطين.
ولك هنا واللي يصير يصير.
يا فلسطين.
هنا واللي يصير يصير.
يا فلسطين.
تسقط إسرائيل.
العافية. دقيقة. بحب أشكركم. قبل ما ننهي وقبل ما أروح بدنا نسمع زرموطة لفلسطين. وهي وقالوا الأقصى ما بترجع. وين الفلسطينيات يا حبيبي؟ وهي وقالوا فلسطين ما بترجع. وهيها ورجعت وقلعت عينيهم. آخر شغلة يا شباب ويا صبايا ويا فلسطينية ولا كل المسلمين والمسيحيين، بحب أشكر جميع المؤسسات التي قامت على تنظيم هذه المسيرة لشعبنا الأقصى، وبحب أشكر على ضمن هذا المركز العربي الذي بجهوده نمشي في هذه المسيرة. أحلى قبل المركز العربي يا أخوان، وشكرا لكم. آخر واحدة يا أخوان، تمروني آخر واحدة. ما شاء الله عليك. ولكن بالروح بالدم نفديك يا أقصى.
بالروح بالدم نفديك يا أقصى. بالروح بالدم نفديك يا أقصى. بالروح بالدم نفديك يا أقصى. بالروح بالدم نفديك يا أقصى. بالروح بالدم نفديك يا أقصى.
والأقصى لنا وحقه علينا. والأقصى لنا وحقه علينا. والأقصى لنا وحقه علينا. الله يعطيك العافية.
يعطيكم العافية، يعطيكم العافية. شكرا يا شباب. عن جد مش عشان أنا فلسطينية، بس عشان فيش في أحلى من شعبنا. الواحد بلف وبدور في كل العالم وبلاقيش زي شعبنا، ولا بلاقي زي بناتنا، ولا بلاقوا زي شبابنا، ولا بلاقوا زي أسرنا. Resistance is justified when Palestine is occupied. 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 Resistance is our demand. There's no peace on stolen land. Resistance is our demand. There's no peace on stolen land. Resistance is our demand. No peace on stolen land. Resistance is our demand. There's no peace on stolen land. Resistance is our demand. No peace on stolen land. Everybody, please give a warm welcome to Irma, who is a longtime comrade and a friend and an ally of the Palestinian movements across the globe. She is also the national chairperson of Gabriela USA, an overseas chapter of Gabriela Philippines, working to advance the struggle of women and the overall movement of national liberation and genuine democracy in the Philippines. Everybody, please give her a warm hand. From Palestine to the Philippines, stop the U.S. war machine. From Palestine to the Philippines, stop the U.S. war machine. From Palestine to the Philippines. From Palestine to the Philippines.
liberation. We are disgusted. We are disgusted witnessing this slaughter supported by our government and our U.S. tax dollars. It is our duty as Filipino women fighting for the liberation of our people in the Philippines that we link our struggle for national liberation with that other movements in the spirit of true international solidarity. We rise with other Palestinian women, queerty, and we will continue to struggle for their people's freedom against Zionist occupation and for a free and sovereign Palestine. We, the Filipino people, are in full support of Palestina Intifada as its right to defend their sovereignty through armed revolution. We commend and we salute the role of Palestinian women who continue to be the backbone of resistance against decades of military occupation by the Israeli apartheid regime. On this day of action, let us all raise our fists. Let us all raise our fists with the Palestinian uprising, and we remember the lives lost, and we uphold the martyrs. Let's remember the martyrs who gave their lives for liberation. Gabriela and members of the National Democratic Movement in the Philippines, along all of you, will continue to fight alongside for Palestinian liberation. Today and every day we chant, "Long live Palestine!" Our Filipino people are with you in your fight for revolution and liberation in our lifetime for a free Palestine! Long live international solidarity! Long live international solidarity! Long live international solidarity! One solution! When I say one solution, you all say revolution. Got it? One solution! 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 Long live Palestine! Free, free 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 Palestine! Mabuhay kayo! Long live Palestine! Thank you very much.
Thank you. Give it up for Gabriela. This month, the Biden administration approved a $700 million plus military package to the Israeli government. While bombs are raining over our people, over 200 people have been killed in Gaza. And Israeli armed mobs are killing our people in 48 Palestine, and the West Bank continues to live under blockades and checkpoints. So we understand what it means when the U.S. war machine supports the genocide and corruption of our people. So from Palestine to the Philippines, stop the U.S. war machine. From Palestine to the Philippines, stop the U.S. war machine. From Palestine to the Philippines, stop the U.S. war machine. Palestine to the Philippines, stop the U.S. war machine. From Palestine to the Philippines, stop the U.S. war machine. member of the Bay Area Colombian collectives N21/A28 and Colombia Conexión, which has been mobilizing Colombians locally in support of the peace accords of 2016, the protection of indigenous and Afro-Colombian social leaders, and most recently in solidarity with the national protest and the general strike against austerity measures and ongoing state-sanctioned terror. Manuela is also a grassroots fundraiser at Forward Together. Give it up for Manuela!
Fight like Colombia! Resist like Palestine! Fight like Colombia! Resist like Palestine! Fight like Colombia! Resist like Palestine! Thank you for the folks who stand on the stage before me, opening up the space and modeling what transnational solidarity looks like. My name is Manuela. I was born in Bogotá, Colombia, and I am one of many Colombians in the diaspora standing and mobilizing today in solidarity with the people of Palestine. My country is entering its third week of a general strike and massive protests that have been met with unprecedented levels of police and military violence, which is only made possible through U.S. military aid. And so I am here. We Colombians are here because we know that our struggles are intertwined.
¡Viva Colombia!
Viva el Paro Nacional! We're here because we know the grief, the horrible pain that comes with the daily, minute-by-minute updates of unspeakable horror and atrocities taking place in our homeland. The desperate calls and messages from your loved ones, the overwhelm of it all. Over the past 3 weeks, we have been watching the Colombian government massacre young people, students, peasants, workers, Black and Indigenous community leaders who have been taking to the streets since April 28th. The protest started in response to a proposed hike by tax hike proposed by President Ivan Duque, which he walked back 4 days into the protests. But you see, the strike continues because it's about so much more than that. It's about the constant killings of social movement leaders, about the mismanagement of the pandemic with 80,000 dead and counting. It's about the fact that the Colombian state has not held up its side of the 2016 peace accords. It's about the non-stop austerity measures in a country where 42% of people live below the poverty line. And when people rightfully took to the streets, when unions called for a general strike, the response from the government was to send the police, the US-backed police, to kill, maim, rape, and disappear protesters. As of today, the police have killed 43 people and 548 are still missing. And so, we Colombians in the Bay Area have been gathering over the last 3 weeks, holding space for our rage and our grief, holding vigil in honor of the victims of state terror for many days and nights, actually right here, outside this very building, because it so happens that not one, but 2 genocidal governments have their consulates right here at 556. So let's remind the Colombian and Israeli authorities that we're out here, that we denounce their genocidal actions. The Israeli and Colombian settler colonial states could not carry out their crimes against humanity without U.S. military aid. I'll say that again. The Israeli and Colombian settler colonial states could not carry out their crimes if it wasn't for U.S. military aid. Colombia is the largest recipient of U.S. aid in Latin America. Since 2001, the U.S. has sent the Colombian government over $9 billion through military aid packages such as Plan Colombia. And so just as we're asking to end U.S. military funding to Israel, we're also asking you to contact your representatives demanding that they support the application of the Leahy Law to freeze assistance to Colombian security forces as they violate human rights with impunity. security forces, including the deadly riot police, is mad because when we say defund and abolish the police, following the lead of our black siblings, we mean all police, here and abroad. This is our shared struggle. Palestinian siblings, we stand with you in your anti-colonial and anti-imperialist struggle. We demand an end to the bombing of Gaza, an immediate withdrawal of Israeli troops from Palestine, the dismantling of the separation wall, and the occupation. Free Palestine! Fight like Colombia! Resist like 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 Palestine! Thank you!
From Colombia to Palestine, stop the U.S. war machine! From Colombia to Palestine, stop the U.S. war machine! From Colombia to Palestine, stop the U.S. war machine! 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 From Colombia to Palestine, our resistance never died!
فلسطينية
يا ويلي شوف الفلسطينيين عليهم شوف
يا اخوان فلسطيني ما بيركع
يا ويلي.
فلسطيني ما بيركع لا بدبابة ولا بمدفع لا بدبابة ولا بمدفع فلسطيني ما بيركع
يا سلام يا اهالينا انضموا الينا
يا أهالينا انضموا إلينا
شعبنا
يا اخوان الله فلسطين والقدس عربية الله فلسطين
والقدس عربية
الله فلسطين والقدس عربية الله فلسطين القدس عربية
يا اهالينا انضموا شعبنا كله ضحى بدمه
يا أهالينا انضموا الشعب كله ضحى بدمه
من غزة طلع القرار
القرار
انتفاضة وانتصار
انتفاضة وانتصار
وحدة عربية
وحدة عربية
اسلام ومسيحية
إسلام ومسيحية
ما في حل وما في حل
ما في حل وما في حل
الا تركع يا محتل
إلا تركع يا محتل
ما في حل ما في
ما
حل
في حل ما في حل
الا تركع يا محتل
ما في حل ما في حل إلا تركع يا محتل
غزة هاشمي ما بترجع
الدنيا ما ترجع
لا بدبابة ولا بمدفع
لا بدبابة ولا مدفع
الله الله الله
كمان مرة خايفين لا تراجع على استسلام
لا تراجع على استسلام
لا تراجع على استسلام
لا تراجع على استسلام
ايدي بيدك يا القسام
ايدي بايدك يا قسام
علي ايدك يا القسام
علي ايدك يا قسام
الروح بالدم نفديك يا اقصى
بالروح بالدم
نفديك يا اقصى
بالروح بالدم نفديك يا اقصى
نحنا مش ارهابية
نحنا مش ارهابية
نحنا مش ارهابية
نحنا مش ارهابية
نحنا اصحاب القضية
نحنا اصحاب القضية
ونحن
years old and from East Oakland, California. I'm a spoken word poet and youth organizer with Youth versus Apocalypse. We are a Bay Area-based group led by predominantly frontline youth fighting for environmental and climate justice. Today I stand here in solidarity with the organizers of this powerful and beautiful action, along with the Palestinian people. What's happening in Palestine isn't a conflict, it isn't a feud, it isn't a war, it is the ethnic cleansing, it is the genocide and colonization of Palestine. We are all fighting for justice. We are all fighting for freedom. For so long, we have been fighting separately and viewing movements separately. We have to recognize that all of our issues and all of our struggles are connected. All the struggles that we are experiencing, all the issues that we are fighting against are fueled by unsustainable foundational systems of colonization, of white supremacy, and exploitative capitalism. The U.S., a country founded off the genocide of the indigenous people, the enslavement and kidnapping of my ancestors, and the theft of native land, is funding billions of dollars into Israel's military. The same military that is murdering and colonizing Palestinian people. The U.S. is funding billions of dollars into border control, which is targeting and separating Hispanic families coming from the South. The U.S. is funding billions of dollars into the police, a system that is enslaving and murdering Black people. The U.S. is funding billions of dollars into the fossil fuel industry and other unsustainable activities that are fueling the climate crisis, which is disproportionately exploiting Black and brown communities. The U.S. has a pattern of funding the destruction of our planet and our people. We have to come together and call out our power holders. We have to stop this practice in this country where power holders put profit over people. We have to stop this practice of funding the colonization, enslavement, separation, and captivity of innocent people and communities. We are all fighting for freedom. We are all fighting for the ability to thrive. These movements have to come together. Justice has to mean dismantling the systems of white supremacy, colonialism, capitalism, racism, and all oppressive systems, because they are fueling the crises that we are experiencing. Justice has to mean challenging the belief and practice that people are disposable. Justice has to mean achieving collective liberation and finally receiving freedom. Justice has to mean rebuilding a country and a world with foundations of equity, sustainability, freedom, and humanity. Being radical and being united and resisting will lead us into rebuilding a world where every living thing is able to thrive and truly be free. Thank y'all.
Hello? Give it up for Anaya! Free the people, free the land! 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 Before we bring up our next speaker, I just wanted to let everybody know that this pandemic has not ended, unfortunately. And so please keep your masks on. I know it's sweaty, it's wet under my mask. So please keep your mask on. Care for our community. A lot of people here aren't vaccinated. We have elders in the crowd. We have children in the crowd who have not been vaccinated yet. Thank you.
Next, we have up a longtime community member who was also one of the curators and creators of the San Francisco State University Gups mural that sits Edward Said, a longtime beloved scholar, organizer, activist in the Palestinian community. Please, everybody, give it up for Faik Owais, who is also from Deir Dabour. So if there's any Gabala in here, give it up for your homie.
Thank you. It's really great to be back in the Bay Area. I've been away for almost 10 years, and I miss this. I miss San Francisco. I miss the Bay Area. I miss the activism. I miss all of you. Thank you for being here. Long live Palestine. Long live Palestine. Free Palestine. Free Palestine! The Arab American community and the supporters of peace and justice in Palestine will be holding a rally to protest the suppression of freedom of speech by Facebook and Instagram. So we're gonna go to Facebook and Instagram and flip the thumb on them. We're gonna flip the thumb on them. So, the rally will be held at Facebook headquarters in Menlo Park this coming Thursday, May 20th at 4 p.m. So I would love to see all of you there. The current events that include the attack on Gaza and the ethnic cleansing of Sheikh Jarrah neighborhood of Jerusalem have shown the true colors of Facebook and Instagram by trying to silence and block the voices that want to tell the true story and the genocide against the Palestinian people. The goal of the rally is to demand that Facebook and Instagram stop blocking users who are raising their voices against the crimes committed by it. You're gonna ask them to stop blocking users who are raising their voices against the crimes committed by Israel against the Palestinian people. We also demand that Facebook and Instagram stop censoring content posted by Palestinian and their supporters trying to tell the true story of what is happening in Gaza. Facebook has failed the legal and moral responsibility in respecting international and humanitarian law and the right of the Palestinian people to express themselves and fighting against the oppression they are facing. The company has blocked users, deleted posts, and closed accounts for using words such as Al-Aqsa. Long live Al-Aqsa! Long live Al-Aqsa! Long live Palestine! Long live Palestine! So we will see you Thursday, this coming Thursday, at Facebook headquarters to protest their actions, to protest their policies, and to raise our voices, and to flip the thumb on them. All right. Free Palestine. Thank you.
Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! I just wanted to make another announcement. Lada talked about blocking the vote in the Oakland courts, and I just wanted to sign up for the text system. You need a text. You can either text your name or BTB to 181-block-SIM. Hold up, let me pull the number too. If you can't do that on your phone, you can do 812-562-5946. And you can either text your name or BTB. But yeah, next up, I'm bringing up Sabina from the Answer Coalition. Give it up for Sabina. Sabina has supported, Sabina's from the Answer Coalition, who have supported the Palestinian struggle for 2 decades in the anti-war movement. They're also from they're the USA's National Organizing Director, an organizer with Labor Against Racism and War. Give it up for Sabina! to the sea, Palestine will be free. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. No matter what Biden or the media is saying, the world is rising up against Israel. There's been a call to strike today in Palestine, and Palestine is a labor issue. How many of y'all out here today are workers? And everyone out here is here for Palestine today, right? Like a speaker said earlier, you cannot be for workers if you are not anti-Zionist. Palestinian workers live every day of their lives in apartheid and occupation, and that's why Palestinian workers today are all rising up across occupied Palestine. They're taking their day out of work, and they're participating in the strike for Palestine. Wars and occupations are workers' issues. When power plants, hospital roads, publishing houses, media towers, cemeteries, schools are being targeted by Israel, what do? We stand up and we fight back. One of the longest and most militant general strikes in history was in Palestine in 1936 against the settlements and British colonialism. The current call for the general strike is the first one since 1936. The Palestinian people, from the river to the sea, are uniting as workers to defeat apartheid and colonialism. You heard Lara from AROC speak earlier about the Zim ship. And we know that workers run everything, so we have the power to stop everything. And what's that called when we rise up and have the power to stop everything? That's called a strike. Sisters and brothers and siblings, that's a strike. When we withhold our labor, anything is possible. We can make all kinds of demands. And out here today, Palestinians are striking and demanding an end to this brutal occupation. And now is the time for unions and workers all around the world to rise up and get Israel where it hurts, in their pocketbooks. Last week, that's right, that's what we need to do. Last week, Italian dock workers refused to load the shipment of arms heading to Israel. That's what I'm talking about, y'all. That's worker power. That's international solidarity. In 2014, the Bay Area movement, AROC, the Answer Coalition, and others organized to stop the Israeli Zim shipping company from docking their ship in the port of Oakland. Okay. Just a few days ago, AROC renewed the call to block Zim, and Zim sent their ship away from the port of Oakland without docking. Every day that ship doesn't dock, they're losing millions of dollars. That's what we need to do, y'all. And all it takes is mobilizing as a community, an organized group of dock workers who withhold their labor, just as what is possible. It scared Zim away. We can keep doing that. And we're not the first to do this. I don't know if y'all know, but there's a long and rich history of labor struggling for justice and struggling against apartheid. In 1984, the ILWU, the Longshoremen Union, refused to work on ships that were coming from apartheid South Africa. That's right. And we're reliving that very same history right now. That played a big role in economically isolating this apartheid government of South Africa and hastening its defeat. Imagine if workers all around the world coordinated and did this to demand justice for Palestine. Israel's a colony without which wouldn't exist without which support of the Western governments and countries like the United States. It's a colony which needs to market itself as a great place to do business, needs to attract profits, and attract capital, and get that political support that it needs to stay alive. So what that means to me, what that means to all of us, is what we need to do. We know where to hurt them. BDS, boycott, divest, sanction. This is how people are rising up all around the world to put an end to apartheid South Africa. And this is how we can isolate Israel. This is how we can incapacitate the machinery of Israel's violent occupation. This is how we're going to spread awareness about the children being murdered right now by Israeli airstrikes in Gaza this last week. And instead of sitting alone in our sadness, we can stand up, we can work together, we can do something about this when we're coordinating globally, and we can leverage our power as workers, as students, as people, as immigrants. And as a worker, you have power over your labor. You can unionize, you can block imports from Israel. If you're a student, you can demand that your university divest from Israel. That's right. How many of you out here are from SJP? I was in SJP in college. That's great work. Even passing a resolution demanding divestment scared our university and scared the Zionists. So we know it works. Together, we're going to make it hurt. We're going to make it hurt to do business with Israel. We're going to attack Israel right back. We're going to fight for justice. And that's why I'm here today, and I'm so excited to see all of you out here. So join an organization, get more involved, join your union, organize your workplace. That's what we say. Brick by brick and wall by wall. Brick by brick and wall by wall. Israeli apartheid will fall. Brick by brick and wall by wall. Apartheid will fall. Brick by brick and wall by wall. Apartheid will fall. Brick by brick and wall by wall. Apartheid will fall. Yes, it will, inshallah. Give it up for Sabina. Give it up for Sabina. Rise up! Don't back down! There's no more Zionism in our town! Rise up! Don't back down! There's Zionism in our town! Rise up! Don't back down! No Zionism in our town! Rise up! Don't back down! Zionism in our town! Rise up! Don't back down! No Zionism in our town! Rise up! Don't back down! No Zionism in our town! Rise up! Don't back down! No Zionism in our town! Rise up! Don't back down! No Zionism in our town! Rise up! Don't back down! No Zionism in our town! Rise up! Don't back down! No Zionism in our town! Rise up! Don't back down! No Zionism in our town! Okay, y'all, we're gonna do a chant. I'm gonna say, how do you spell justice? And y'all are gonna say BDS, okay? Y'all got it? How do you spell justice? BDS. How do you spell justice? BDS. How do you spell justice? BDS. I can't hear y'all. How do you say justice? BDS. How do you spell justice? BDS. Wow! Give it up for yourselves. I feel like everybody that I'm introducing, they're really all my homies. So I just have to introduce another homie of mine, another beautiful comrade, not just a political OG, a muralist, a badass woman from San Francisco. I'm lightweight kind of old, so I've known Nancy since I was lightweight kind of young.
And honestly, she is one of the most inspirational people who has always held it down for our community. Majority of the murals that you see up, Nancy had a part to do with it. Murals on Palestine, murals on Gaza. Nancy has spent 18 years incorporating art and direct action into Bay Area movements for social justice. For over 10 years, Nancy has worked in San Francisco's Mission District to address the root causes of gang violence, and she uses silk screening, stenciling, design, graffiti, and muralism to bring all of these together for youth across gang divisions. She leads trainings on escalation tactics, media campaign and strategies, and art in action for the Ruckus Society and the Indigenous Peoples Power Project. Everybody, please give a warm welcome to Nancy.
Where's the Bay Area? Where's Frisco at? Where's Oakland at? I've seen folks from Stanford here. Where's Stanford at? I've seen SF State heads here too. Where's SF State at? Where's the Latinos at? I just came here to say thank you. Can we all take a deep breath and say thank you? Throw your fist up if you know whose land we're standing on right now. That's what's up. We are standing on Ohlone territory right now. This is unceded Ramaytush Ohlone territory. The Ohlone people do not have tribal status. In this country, that means that they cannot receive scholarships or any of the benefits that tribals who have reservations are able to receive. Do you know what stops the Ramaytush Ohlone people from being able to qualify for services here in San Francisco, which is their traditional homeland? What is the one thing that prevents them from being able to get scholarships or get funding or get housing? What is it?
Resistance.
It's land. Because they don't own land, they do not qualify as a tribe in the state of California that can receive benefits. Why do the Ramaytush Ohlone people, who are the indigenous caretakers of the village of Yamalu, which is now San Francisco, not own property? It is because of imperialism. It is because there is a systemic move to displace indigenous peoples from their homelands. Because when we have some land to stand on, we love it like we love our mothers. So for capitalism to work, they have to separate us from the land so that they can sell it, so that they can extract the resources from it, and so that they can profit. I painted a mural in the Mission District about gentrification. Throw your fist up if you know what gentrification is. So gentrification has affected our whole community. Predatory lenders of the banks that exist right here in this district have come into our communities and taken our families out of their homes. How many of you have experienced displacement or gentrification in the Bay Area? Hell of us have experienced gentrification and displacement in the Bay Area. So when we painted a mural in the Mission District talking about gentrification, we drew some parallels between what we see here and what we see in Latin America and what we see in Palestine. Immediately we got pushback from all these people who got intimidated about a person wearing a keffiyeh on a mural and got mad and told us to take it off. I don't know if they've ever met us, but we're Chicanos and we don't back down. So at the SF Art Commission, a 15-year-old got on the mic and said, if you want us to take the keffiyeh
off of the person in the mural, that would be like you asking us to take the feathers off an Aztec dancer, and we cannot do that. When we painted that mural in the Mission District talking about gentrification and drew parallels between what we're seeing here in the Bayview and what we're seeing here in the Mission and what we're seeing in Oakland, and drew parallels to what we're seeing in Palestine, I didn't even know how to find Palestine on a map at the time, because I grew up here, and I didn't necessarily learn that. But I did get to take ethnic studies classes. Have any of you gotten to take ethnic studies classes? In ethnic studies classes, I got to learn about our traditional homeland and our culture. I got to learn about African American brothers and sisters sitting next to me in classrooms. I got to learn about Filipino history and struggle. I got to learn about indigenous peoples across the continents that are all struggling against imperialism that basically all came out of England, right? And got to learn about how there's so many similarities and so many parallels to be drawn, right? So because of us painting that mural in the Mission District, a bunch of us got to go to visit Palestine and paint murals in Palestine. So like I said, I just came here to say thank you, because Palestinians hosted us in Gaza, Palestinians hosted us in the West Bank, we got to go to Ramallah. Ramallah's like the Mission. And we were able to work with a mental health organization in Gaza that's trying to use art and activism and culture, doing circuses and theater performances with young people to encourage them to continue to pass on the stories of the culture and the tradition that have been passed on to this generation. So I got to experience what it feels like to go into the airport in Israel. I got to experience what it feels like to walk around with the IDF with their AKs and their guns everywhere. I got to experience what the streets look like in a place where the United States gives $3.8 billion per year. So, any of y'all come from the hood? Everybody who comes from the hood needs to look at what the streets look like in Israel. Because the reason why the streets look like they do in Israel is because the streets in the hood look like the way they do here. There is a direct pipeline that takes money out of all of our pockets and is using that money to invest in the largest weapons dealer on the planet, security. So we went to go paint murals on water filtration systems that provide clean and potable water to 30,000 families in Gaza. And I pray that some of those buildings are still standing and that all of those young people who helped us to paint are still standing. I want to ask all of you to collectively send our prayers out to the young people in Gaza, to the people who are living in the rubble right now and figuring out how to rebuild. I want us to extend our love from our hearts here in San Francisco to create a force field around the people in Gaza to protect their hearts and to protect their sanity and to protect their mental health and to protect their bodies and to protect their houses and to protect their children. People there are crammed together like you're in Mexico City. It's shoulder to shoulder all the time. It's the third most densely populated place on the planet. when you throw a bomb into the third most densely populated place on the planet that is over 60% young people, you are committing genocide against the future generations that should stand on this planet. The only reason that this occupation is existing is because it is being funded with the money that we paid yesterday and the day before in taxes. In a global pandemic when we do not have health care, at a time when families across this city and this state are at risk of being evicted from their homes because they cannot pay their rent, at a time when all of our schools are closed, at a time when there is places here in California where folks do not have potable water, we are sending money to Israel to wage war. It is a fact. It is a fact. And when we know facts, then we can address the future, right? That's ethnic studies. Ethnic studies teaches us to study, right? We learned what happened in South Africa. Study South Africa. Read Steve Biko's books. Learn how they won. Because if we study the wins, we can replicate the wins. We are at a crossroads right now. This will either continue or this will stop. All of these people in blue who are lined up here would love for this shit to continue. They get funded trips to go visit and be tourists in Israel. Our general fund from San Francisco helps to contribute money to pay officers. So if any of you ever wonder why Alex Nieto was murdered, if any of you ever wonder why the police in San Francisco were able to throw 99 bullets at Adolfo, who was a Mission High graduate, it is because they were trained by murderers. We know that the Klan exists within the SFPD. We know this is a fact. We have the text messages, we all read them. If you have not read them, Google that shit. For context, the SF Police Department were caught in a racist scandal where their text messages were put as discovery in a court case when one of their own was facing federal charges. All of their text messages were read out loud to the court, and you can read them on the internet, where they talk about burning crosses in front of our houses. Where they have casual conversations calling us abominations of nature for being mixed breeds. Where they talk about murdering us as a stress-relieving tactic. These officers right here are part of a system, whether it is you the murderer or if it's not you the murderer. You work for the murderer. And these murderers were trained by the murderers in Israel. So if gentrification is affecting you, if police violence are affecting you, if poverty is affecting you, all of these issues come together in one place, and it has to do with the imperialist structure of the apartheid country that is right now Israel. But it will not last. Because we have Jewish brothers and sisters who will defend their religion and will say to everyone who will listen that their religion does not co-sign on murder, that their religion does not co-sign on stealing land, and that their religion is being used as a scapegoat to acquire property. The people who created Zionism were not Jewish. The people who designed Zionism were not of faith.
So the Jewish people are being used as a pawn in this system. And when they rebel, and when we rebel, we can reallocate that $3 billion every year. Imagine what the hood will look like when instead of buying bombs, we are taking care of Bayview. Imagine what the hood will look like when instead of purchasing rocket missile technology to defend settlers, we are investing in East Oakland. What will it look like when we have $3 billion every year to invest here, or to invest in places that need to protect land and life, to defend land and life? If we take that money that is currently being used to kill people and take land, and we take that money and we put it into healing people, and we put it into taking care of people and creating life and taking care of land, we will make our ancestors proud. I would like to ask everybody to take a deep breath and fill your lungs as much as you can with oxygen, because that is what is keeping us all alive. And when you exhale, I want you to think of all of the people that we're sending love to in Palestine, and that they possibly could feel us and feel the love and the energy that we are sending them, and the gratitude that we have for them, and the hope that we want to inspire in them. And I hope that they can see the pictures of y'all just like we are seeing the pictures of them. And I hope that as sad as the pictures of them are making us, that the pictures of us might make them happy.
But before I get started, just to expand on what our last speaker was saying, how many people in this crowd know about the bill going through Congress right now called HR 2590? That bill, which is sponsored by some pretty cool representatives who are pretty okay on Palestinian human rights, makes sure that our money, our taxpayer money, doesn't go to drop bombs over Gaza, doesn't go to build settlements, doesn't go to kill our people. It is unacceptable that a little more than a dozen of our representatives, where we have hundreds of representatives, don't support HR 2590. I want y'all to go back home when you're on your commute back home to text, email, send a letter to your representatives and let them know that you support HR 2590. You don't support our taxpayer money going to funding the genocide of our people. That money should be spent in our communities. Also, I just wanted to let y'all know that there are 2,000 people out here today. There are 2,000 of us who are standing with the people of Palestine, who are standing with the call for the general strike coming from the Palestinian people in Jerusalem and all of Palestine. and it's not yours and somebody from probably Iraq gave it to you, please, these flags are they're ours and we want to use them in future protests. So at the end of the protest, if you can just drop them over here, that would be amazing. And then also, I just wanted to bring back the text message system so we can mobilize to the Oakland ports if we need to, because the ship left, but the ship might be coming back and we need to be at the Oakland ports when it comes back to let them know. Zim ships, Israeli apartheid ships, aren't docking in our ports in our Bay Area. When that ship comes, I want to see my people out there. I want to see the Palestinian, Arab, and Muslim, and all people. And all people sending solidarity out there. I want to see that port with a wave of Palestinian flags like we did in 2014. If you can get out your phones right now, if you got your phone on you, you're gonna text. I'm gonna give y'all a few seconds. Y'all got those phones out? I'm looking. Yeah, fuck them. But anyways, you're gonna text BTB or your name, BTB or your name, and you're gonna text it to either, I'm gonna give y'all two numbers if you don't have the letter each on your phone. Give me a minute. You're gonna text BTB or your name to 181 dash and then block Zim, Z-I-M. And then if you don't got the letter feature on your phone, you're gonna text it, BTB or your name, to 1-812-562-5946. I'm gonna say that again, 1-812-562-5946. I'm gonna say that one more time, just one more time. 1-812-562-5946. Y'all better be subscribed. Y'all better be out in the Oakland ports when that Zim ship comes back, because we letting them know the Bay Area don't fuck with no Zionists. We will be there. 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 Free, free, free Palestine. 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 Everybody give yourselves a warm hand of applause. Like I said earlier, literally all my homies are on this truck. So I'm just gonna keep saying that over and over and over again, because the reason why I'm saying that is because this took a lot of effort to organize. This has been countless sleepless hours of watching our people getting maimed in our homelands. This has also taken massive amounts of text messages and emails and phone calls and whatever it is, also that everybody out here can come and experience the pain that we're all going through. Because right now what we are experiencing doesn't just come out of a place of solidarity with our people. It also comes from watching the mass amounts of pain of what it is that we are experiencing. And pain is a really deep emotion, and it's an emotion that is embedded in the blood of the Palestinian. We are out here today not only because we stand in solidarity, but we just can no longer take this shit anymore. Free, free, free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! End the occupation now! End the occupation now! End the occupation now! Here, all of the speakers that are part of organizations, one of the ways that every single one of you can get organized is by join a movement. Join an organization. Be a part of the Palestinian Youth Movement. Be a part of the Arab Resource and Organizing Center. Be a part of the Arab Youth Organization. Be a part of SJP, because this is the only way that we will collectively liberate our homeland.
Palestinian Youth Movement and sits on the board of the National Executive Board of the PYM. Nadia is a Berkeley and Oakland resident who also lives on a lonely land. She's a down-ass woman. She's a down-ass mujer and a down-ass Palestinian. So everybody please give a warm welcome and a warm round of applause to our last speaker, Nadia Tanouz.
Y'all, can I get a round of applause for our brilliant MCs for a moment? Please give them some love. I see you, Palestinian women to the front. Where are Shabab at? Where are the men at? Where are all of our siblings at? Okay, I know that we have seen each other in the streets quite a lot in the past week. I want you to look to your neighbor, someone that you may not know, and just introduce yourself. Say hello. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to do that. Turn to someone that you don't know and say hello. All right, did everyone find somebody? All right, now, with your neighbor who you just met, I want everybody to turn towards the Zionist entity's consulate. Okay, we're all gonna turn around, look up at the windows up there, and we're gonna make them a promise, all right? When I say when Palestine is under attack, what do? We stand up, fight back, right? Ready? When Palestine is under attack, what do? When Palestine is under attack, what do? Resistance is justified when people are occupied. Then rise up, rise up, rise up. Rise up, rise up, rise up. Rise up, my people, rise up. Rise up, my people, rise up. Tell me what you want, what you really want. Justice. Tell me what you need, what you really need. Justice. How we gonna get it? People power. 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 Tell me what you want, what you really want. Justice. Tell me what you need, what you really need. Justice. How we gonna get it? People power. 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 All right, y'all. So I apologize in advance for the people who don't like to hear cussing, but I think they deserve it. Can we turn around and can we tell them, hey Zionists, fuck you! All right, y'all. So we know that there's another rally on Saturday, right? It's at 11 a.m. at 16th and Mission. And it's gonna be a march. Okay? If you can't get there till 1:30, that's cool. 1:30, meet us at Civic Center. So Saturday, we are marching at 11. What time? Where at? 16th and Mission. Where at? All right, and if you're late and you get there at 1:30, where are we meeting? Civic Center, right? All right, so I'm gonna see y'all there. Okay, and just before we go, I wanna read a statement. I'm gonna read it with passion from our siblings who are striking on the ground in Palestine. Why is a strike historic? Does everybody know that in 1936, the Palestinian people led a strike that lasted for 7 to 9 months? It was one of the largest strikes in the history of the world. Did y'all know that? And in the 1980s, during the first Intifada, we shut that shit down again. Isn't that right? All of us up here who helped to organize this action, we did it as a response, a coordinated response from our comrades on the ground in Palestine. Today, children did not go to school. The people who are building, Palestinians who are participating in construction, they did not build a damn thing today. was still about 20% of the agricultural industry, they didn't pick a damn thing today. And this intifada, there will be many ways to go down in history, but this is the unity intifada. And the bayan or the statement reads, people of Palestine, here we are, writing a new chapter of courage and pride in which we tell a story of justice and the truth that no level of Israeli colonial repression can erase however cruel and brutal that repression may be. The story of truth is a simple one in our land. The truth is that Palestinians are one people, one society. Zionist gangs forced most of our people out. It stole our homes and destroyed our villages. Then Zionism decided to shred what remained of Palestine, isolating us and separating us in small strips of our land. They tried to turn us into different societies, each living apart, each in its own separate prison. That is how Zionism has sought to control us. This is how they work to fragment our political will and to prevent a united struggle in the face of racist settler colonialism in all of Palestine. This is how Israel imprisoned us in prisons of isolation. Some of us were caged in the Oslo prison in the West Bank. Some of us are caged in the citizenship prison in the occupied Palestinian territories of 48. Some of us are isolated by the monstrous siege and ongoing devastation assault of the Gaza prison. Some of us are isolated under the systematic Judaization campaign of the Jerusalem prison, and some isolated from Palestine altogether, dispersed across all corners of the globe in diaspora. But it is time for this tragedy to end. In these days, we write a new chapter, a chapter of a united intifada that seeks our one and only goal, reuniting Palestinian society in all of its different parts, reuniting our political will and our means of struggle to confront Zionism throughout Palestine and in the diaspora. This long intifada is at its heart an intifada of consciousness. It is an intifada to overthrow off the filth of quietude and defeatism. Because of it, the brave generations to come will have been raised once again on the fundamental principle of our Palestinian unity. It will stand in the face of all of the elites working to deepen and entrench the divisions and in between our communities. This intifada will be a long one in the streets of Palestine and in the streets around the world. Am I right? An intifada that fights the hand of injustice wherever it tries to reach, that fights the battens of cruel regimes wherever they try to strike. This is an intifada of bared chests and foreheads, held high armed with revolutionary goals, deep knowledge and understanding, and the organizational toil and commitment of every individual and collective in the face of bullets of the Israeli occupation wherever they are fired. Long live a united Palestine! Long live the intifada of unity! Long live Palestine! Long live Palestine! Intifada! Intifada! Long live Intifada! to your community. Our commitment is to our siblings in struggle from other communities who are here with us today. Our commitment is to rise for Palestinians and to rise for justice wherever we may be. That is what it means. Being Palestinian, y'all, means that we fight for justice wherever we live. That is what it means. This is our covenant, okay? When you see suffering around you because of the ills of capitalism and plights of poverty, that is our fight. When you see the ills of suppression and discrimination in our world here today, that is our fight. When we see our siblings and our communities that we live in rising up against killer cops. When Nancy talked about love earlier, it's a revolutionary love. Because even when our people are brutalized, even when they are killed, even when they are shot down in the streets or bombed from the air, we are eternal beings. That means that we live on. That means that when we die, our ancestors come back to find us. They come back to bring us home. And that means that every single one of you, you have your ancestors with you on your back, okay? And this is something else that the Reverend Niall Ford taught me once. He said, death doesn't have the last word. Life does. Life has the last word. And so today, every single one of us are here and we are alive because of the sacrifices of the people before us, right? Because they survived genocide, because they survived persecution, because they are currently surviving ethnic cleansing and colonial violence from Turtle Island and the streets of San Francisco all the way to Palestine. And so I'm gonna tell you something. Every single place today, we are part of a movement across the so-called United States and Canada and across the world. We have stood up in front of the Israeli consulates and embassies. This is a bastion of supremacy and violence, but they're not safe up there. Because whose streets are these? Whose streets? Whose streets? Whose streets? Whose streets? All right, so as a final word, I want you to look at your neighbor, your new friend that you just made. All right, check in. Maybe you'll see each other on Saturday. And all of us, look to each other. This is community. And what we're gonna do in revolutionary love, we're gonna take this shit down brick by brick. Brick by brick, this wall will fall. That brick by brick, this wall will fall. Brick by brick, this wall will fall. That free the land, free them all. That free the land, free them all. I love y'all. See you on Saturday. Be safe. Stay safe.
Give it up for Nadia! I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for the Nadias, the Lubnas, and the Laudas of the world doing the work. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my Palestinian mother who stood strong against oppression. I wouldn't be here in the world if Palestinian mothers back home aren't fighting oppression, if our mothers here in the diaspora aren't raising us to be proud Palestinians fighting for our people being in the streets here right now. Give it up for the Palestinian woman! Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop saying what?
Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop saying.
Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop saying what? Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop saying what? Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop saying what? Ain't no
pretty sure all of you guys know this track that I'm about to play. I actually wasn't gonna play it because I didn't want to offend all the mamas and all the babas, but I just want y'all to know some of our songs too, because we're about to play some revolutionary music, whether it's in English or whether it's in Arabic. So please, everybody, please stay here if you want for a bit, but the program is closed, and it's really beautiful to see everybody, and we hope to see everybody on Saturday.
This is JB, so it's about to get wavy. Fuck Israel, Israel a bitch. Bitch, we out here mobbing on some Palestine shit. Saying fuck Israel, Israel a bitch. Bitch, we out here mobbing on some Palestine shit. Free Palestine, bitch. Israel gon' die, bitch. Niggas ain't laying while you out here trying to rob it. Bullshit, profits. Y'all just want the profit. Niggas wrote a book and they went ahead and cocked it. Snap with the caution, ain't no other options. Nigga, I'ma ride Palestine with no pockets. No shit, long bitch. Nigga, this haram, bitch. Free Palestine, I might tat it on my arm, bitch. Fuck Israel, Israel a bitch. Bitch, we out here mobbing on some Palestine shit. Saying fuck Israel, Israel a bitch. Bitch, we out here mobbing on some Palestine shit. Fuck Israel, Israel a bitch. Bitch, we out here mobbing on some Palestine shit. Saying fuck Israel, Israel a bitch. Bitch, we out here mobbing on some Palestine shit. Bitch, we out here mobbing on some Palestine shit. Bitch, we out here mobbing on some Palestine shit. Bitch, we out here mobbing on some Palestine shit. Bitch, we out here mobbing on some Palestine shit.